Good day. Welcome. We are here on WFPR 1400 AM 103.7 The Boss, and I am here with a good friend of mine, Connor Farrell, as well as two brand new friends here. I've got Danny Smith, who is the CEO here at Lighthouse Ranch, as well as Brandon Baham, who is the principal and a social worker here as well. And they're going to talk to us a little bit about the ranch, about some changes maybe we've gone through for the last several decades, because you guys are in your 43rd year, right? CEO Danny Smith, tell me about this place. How long you been here?
Well, I was here actually.
Hold your mic up for me so we can talk right into it. There you go.
Whenever this was founded in 1979, not as a staff member, but as a friend and supporter, a friend to the founder, who has gone on in 1992.
Okay.
I was hired here as director president in 2010.
Okay.
And so, in subsequent years, my son, John Smith, became president director, and I was bumped up to CEO.
Nice.
The ranch was founded to be a working ranch to help troubled boys. Mm-hmm. And it has continued doing that, and we brought it up to another level in the last several years.
Nice, nice. Now, Brandon, when did you come on board?
So I've been with the ranch for 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
When I came to the ranch, I was a supervisor, and I worked kind of a direct care staff with the residents here, and recently took over as principal the last 2 years.
Now, you're a Loranger person as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So am I. So I was born and raised right up the road here and passed by Lighthouse Ranch all the time. When you were growing up here, what were the stories that you heard about Lighthouse Ranch?
So they were mixed. For some, had no clue it was here.
Right.
And I was part of that. I had no clue it was here. I didn't know what was happening here. But some of the stories were, oh, this is where the kids the bad kids go.
Right.
This is where the kids
Me
that
too.
can't do anything go.
Me too. 80s and 90s that you don't remember, but that's the stories that I heard. You know, you don't want to go over there. And in fact, my best friend lived right up here on the corner, on the intersection, and we were always told, be careful, you know, because their property is right across the street. You know, be careful. You just need to know your surroundings and things like that. Danny, what's the real story behind that?
Well, boys come here who have behavioral problems. Some come here from the state, and others come here as a result of private placement from all over the United States. Over the years, there have been about 1,200 boys who've come through this program and graduated. They attend the school here. We have our own school that services all of their needs. No matter what grade level they are, we accommodate them. We've had many high school graduates. Some have gone to college and graduated. Some have been very successful. And so we have a checkered history of success. It's difficult to track all of the boys who come and go because they're rather transient, and when they leave here, sometimes we lose track of them. But many of the boys are much improved and do very well after graduating from our high school and from this program.
That's fantastic, and we're going to talk about the logistics of that in just a second. But before we do, Connor Farrell, he is a Southeastern grad, actually one of my students at Southeastern, and kind of when you figured out that I was on North Shore Broadcasting, said, hey, I got a story for you over here. Now, you just got here. What makes you think that this place has a story?
Well, I actually worked here as a supervisor as well about a year ago, by the recommendation of my friend Javante Andrews, who just started his internship. Congratulations to him. And I came, and it was a little overwhelming. You know, all the boys have some strong personalities, but some of them are really sweet. But, you know, just like us, they're all trying to get to a good place. And so after I was working part-time, but I had another full-time job. So after Hurricane Ida hit, I actually had to go just back full-time with my other job and not really focus on the ranch. But about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago, came on as the director of communications, and you know, I've been covering all kinds of stories. It's been like they're just falling into my lap, honestly. I thought I had to do a little bit of digging here and there. I'm a got a reporter's history. So
Yeah.
but yeah, there's so much going on here. It's easy.
You got plenty of content,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of how I feel about this new thing, right? At North Shore Broadcasting, there is not a lack of stories in this area, and not a lack of really good things that our community is doing. Tell me about some of those boys, if you don't mind, Brandon, because as the social worker who kind of really focuses in on their issues, what are their backgrounds?
It's very vast. We have, so on top of taking boys from state and privately placed, we also have taken kids from the local tribes here, the local tribes in Louisiana. So again, each background is a little bit different, but the common background for all the boys is trauma. They've all experienced some form of trauma, whether that's involving with parents, whether that's some issues involving with poverty, abuse. It's some form of trauma, which usually comes out, and that's where these maladaptive behaviors come out.
So this is not only a place for behavior issues, but this is also a place where we just kind of get them back and teach them the norm of things. I'm hearing from you.
Yeah, we're trying to just really just show that they can trust us, because for most of them, they've been around adults that that have done horrible things to them where they couldn't depend on. So honestly, the first part, the main focus of us being here is just first being someone they can trust, and then once we gain that trust, then we can start going into the plan of action, and that's with education, with counseling, and just various things like that.
Right, and you and I talked about kind of that before the show started today, that mom and dad's in our home, they love us, they care about us, and maybe we don't understand a lot of what happens to children who are in situations where they have no control over what people are doing to them, and the people who are in that area are much older and are kind of controlling their world. And over these last 40 years, Danny, tell me about some of these success stories how have these boys changed over this time?
Okay, we have a number of boys who have gone on in business to start their own business or to join up with others in business. One in particular
Really?
is a young man.
Entrepreneurs, all right.
One young man named Bill. Bill owns Bill's Plumbing. You've probably seen the Bill's Plumbing trucks in our community, and he's actually based in Independence. And Bill graduated from our high school here. Is a very successful businessman, very successful citizen. He actually obeys the law and takes care of his family and contributes to the community.
In a massive way.
That's
and
right.
we do appreciate him. Several of the organizations that I volunteer for, his name's on the docket a lot there, as far as donating the time, energy,
That's
and
right.
cash to those organizations. So he's certainly given back to the community in a major kind of way.
And there have been numerous others out of the 1,200 that have come through this program. You can imagine a wide variety of stories. Some have gone on to become teachers, others just good, honest citizens who marry. Some now have grandchildren. Got a call a little while back. A man called me. He said, "You don't know me, but I was at the ranch way back." He said, "Now I have a son. He's 16 years old, and I wonder if he can come." So the story goes on.
Yes.
There are young men who have gone into the ministry and who are pastoring churches. Not every story is a success story.
Right.
But then again, you can't help every single individual.
It's the starfish, though, right?
Yeah. it's
So if you
amazing.
can help one, it
But,
changes the world.
We believe a high percentage of those who come through here are doing well today.
Very good. And I guess those are the stories that you tell, right, Connor? Or the individuals. I mean, what are some of the things as a newcomer to this that are just kind of eye-opening? Because you guys have an event that's coming up, right? So tell me about that event and some of the stories that you'll be telling and sharing at that
Yeah. Well, if you actually want a specific testimonial, there's a video on our website called Pedro Testimonial. So, one of our former boys, and he's about 19 now. He's going to North Shore Tech, and he's doing well in his classes. But you can watch the video if you really want some high detail stories. Yeah, Ranch Day, October 22nd. We're gonna have all kinds of gizmos and gadgets out there: horses, petting zoos, a little hay ride. If you want a snowball, and we've actually got a video detailing all that on our Ranch Day tab on the website as well. So.
And they're probably watching it right now if they're watching this on Facebook after the show airs on WFPR 1400, 103.7 The Boss. They're probably watching some of that. So if you're listening online on the radio, please don't forget to go check us out on Facebook as well, because we'll have the video there so you can see some of this in action here.
I'd like to jump in there, and everything will be free, and there will be lots and lots of good, delicious food provided to everyone, all they can eat at no cost. So all of these events are free.
Wonderful. So what are you hoping to accomplish at this event?
I think a lot of it is just getting reach and reaching the community. Last year, I think it was 1,200 people came, and that was competing with the air show. So this year, we're hoping to get the word out even more. I think we've already got almost 300 or 400 people who've responded on Facebook, and it's only August. So by October, we're expecting it to really heat up, and with no air show competition and just expecting natural growth as well, hoping for that number to go up and just show people what we're about, and hopefully people will find it in their heart to donate and help us keep our mission going. So
Give us the dates on that and times one more time.
it'll be October 22nd.
October
So-
22nd.
I think it's the third Saturday of October.
Yeah, that's the week before my boy gets married.
Oh yeah?
Yes, October 29th, the baby's getting married.
Maybe they can have their honeymoon at Ranch Day.
Well, that'd be backwards, right? Because he's October 29th. So,
Oh.
yeah, they're headed to Jamaica.
Okay.
So the plans have already been made. So, I mean, next time, Ranch Day, right? Hopefully there's not a next time. We'll do this once.
Yeah.
Right? All right, fantastic. So, boys who come here, talk to me about the intake a little bit, Brandon. What happens in the very beginning when they get here? What's that look like their first few days? I can imagine that it's a huge transition.
Yes, it is. So a lot actually happens way before they're actually even in our facility. So initially we do an interview. So
Right.
we'll get information, we get a packet, and it gives us, a lot of information about the child's background, charges, just anything involving them, kind of a holistic view of their background. And after that, we conduct an interview, whether we do that interview in person. Since COVID, we've been doing most of them virtually. And we do an interview with myself, Dana Smith, the nurse, and Jonathan Smith, the director. And basically, we just kind of get to know the kid. Because, there's a lot of, you have a paperwork and it has a whole lot of this kid does this, and he does this, and he does this. But until you talk to that kid, you really don't know. And, you really don't know the whole story. We're only getting one side of the story. We don't ever get the kid's story. So
Getting them the why instead of the what can happen.
Right.
Right.
So we conduct that interview, and based off of that, we decide if, we accept them. And then by that time, then they're actually in our facility.
So you interview the child then. Okay. Tell me about some of the questions that you ask during that
So
time.
the first one is just first, how you feeling? Just typically, it's like, how's it going? Usually not going great, because typically if they're coming to us, we're kind of that last, in a sense, shot.
And you talk about the age range.
So 12 to 17.
Okay. So 12 to 17-year-olds.
Yes.
All right.
And-
So how you feeling?
So basically, we ask how they're feeling. Then we just kind of ask some basic questions like, what are your goals? Like, do you have goals? First off, do you have goals? And what are they? And the goals can vary. Some say, I want to go home. I want to go, I want to finish school out. Because a lot of them, typically they have issues with school. Because if there's some form of trauma, there's likely going to be some gaps in education.
Right.
Just because if those basic needs aren't being met, it's almost disrespectful to expect a kid to do well in school if he's not even getting every meal he needs.
Right.
Not having a safe place to sleep. So we ask questions like that. Basically, one of the main questions we do ask is, we let them know that our program, we are a faith-based program. and we reference God in our school, pretty much everything we do. So we are upfront with them on that, just to make sure that we don't offend them, because that's the main thing. We don't want it to be offensive, and
Well, that can poison the whole thing, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So we ask them that, and then pretty much, really it's a lot of them just asking questions after that. We just really trying to get to know the kid, if he's excited about being here, because we want it to be a team effort. We don't want it to be just he's here and he's against us. Like, we want to work as a team to whatever goal he has.
Right. Now, I heard you say just something a little while ago, Connor, when I was coming in. Hang on to it, because the question's for you. All right, Brandon. You have private pay individuals here as well, right? So this might be your former student's son who comes in, and he's saying, "Man, this program helped me so much. I'm about to pay you to help my kid too." Right? I've seen it work. Come get him. Right? What's the difference between those who are kind of that private pay being pushed into this? Your parents see what's good for you. You're going out there to get right, versus those who come from the state system, or is there one?
So I would think the main difference with those kids is they have experienced typically some form of trauma, but it's typically not, it varies. So, for example, a large portion of the youth that we have that are privately placed, there's usually some form of DCFS involvement in their history. Just typically, a lot of them have been adopted. A lot that is a common thing. There was adoption involved, or past trauma, not with their current caregivers, but in their past.
Right.
So that's kind of something we work through. There's a lot more parental involvement, because the big thing is we have to have the parents on board. Because,
Right.
again, this is a team effort to work with this child.
Right, and they're paying for it, so they're
Exactly.
expecting some results on the other end of it, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And really, it's really more focused on what are the parents and the child's goals. We're trying to find a middle ground, because the parents have their goals and then the child has his goals. So we're trying to find a middle ground where they can be kind of bridge them together.
Right. Now, Danny, they come in through the program, right? They get their initial interview, they're here. What does a normal day look like for these individuals?
This is a structured program. Every minute of every day has been thought out in advance. So even though the boys may object to that at first, they need to be somewhere specifically at all times, 24 hours a day. And it's not a hard life. It's not, even though they may disagree with this, it is not a labor camp. Now, we do introduce to them when they first come that it is a working ranch.
Right.
And they must learn to work, cooperate, and help around the kitchen, help keep the place clean, and work especially out on the campus with maintenance, with landscaping, mowing, and picking up trash.
Sounds like growing up at home with my mom and dad.
That's right. And keep the glass doors cleaned every day, and typical things that you would do around the household.
Right.
When a boy first comes here, the first thing I do is hug his neck and tell him I love him and welcome him to the ranch. And
Hurts my feelings that might be the first time that individual ever heard
that's
that
what I was
somebody
going to
loves
say.
them.
Many times that has never happened before, and they act surprised, like, I've never been hugged before by anybody. What kind of a place is this? And we introduce
Is this a
them.
hugging place? Y'all hug every day? Is this what we do?
We don't touch a boy often because, we're not allowed to abuse or slap a boy around and touch him a whole lot. But we do compliment him with a pat on the back, a handshake, and appreciation for being here.
Yeah.
And we try to teach him like he's one of our boys that we love and that we care for, and that we'd like to make a good friend to, and to meet his needs. So throughout the day, a boy knows the schedule for breakfast, for school, and school, by the way, is year-round. Now, we far exceed the minimum number of days required. Brandon here is the principal, and he feels that. He's the principal not just for 9 months, but for 12 months.
Right.
Because school goes year-round.
Right.
But that gives us an opportunity to help the boys get caught up if they're behind academically.
And I should imagine that it doesn't give them a break in that structure that they need, right? So that 12-month thing.
Well, that gives them
Carries on
something
that
to
structure.
do. You know, you've got to have activities.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those activities is going to school
Sure.
year round.
Right.
Now, we do have a lot of flexibility in that schedule. I believe every Friday is a day off of school,
Yes, sir.
and they only attend till,
Fridays off, man? That's
they only
fantastic.
attend till noon.
Okay.
So that's noon, 9 till noon, Monday through Thursday.
Mhm.
That's not a bad schedule for school.
Mm-hmm.
After school, they're somewhat free in the afternoon to participate in other activities. We have a large recreation center here, big gymnasium, basketball court. We have a running track. And then, of course, this is a working ranch with cattle and horses. And that involves a lot of activity to maintain the livestock and to keep the fences and the gates working and patched and take the cows off to the market and various things that are necessary when you have livestock.
Yes, sir.
So throughout the day, there are places for boys to be and not to be, of course. There are scheduled meals, and you know, we cook a meal at one time, and we don't cook all day long. We cook at morning, noon, and evening.
Mm-hmm.
The boys have to show up if they want to eat. The other thing we do that's pretty special is we provide an 8 o'clock snack every day, 7 days a week. They have something to go eat. That is prepared by the kitchen, and the supervisors make sure the boys get their evening snack. They go to bed, they have to be in their room at 9 o'clock, lights out at 10 o'clock, and there is 24-hour surveillance, 8 days a week, so to speak. The boys are always monitored and watched carefully so that they don't become tempted to disappear. It is not a locked-in facility. They can run away if they choose to. It turns out that's a bad decision, a really bad decision if they decide to run away. Most don't run away. Occasionally, very rarely, a boy thinks he can do better down the road, so he runs out, and then we catch him quickly, and he finds out that he's right back in his old familiar surroundings. So each day there are plans for that, for every boy to be somewhere at some time. And it's not like he just comes here and lays around all the time.
Right. Let's talk about discipline. What are, you know, every school has to have a detention. You know, there has to be discipline, and I'm sure that you're the man for that. Look like a pretty strong fella. Talk to me about discipline.
So, discipline. One unique thing about our school, our youth cannot be expelled. So that's something they have to try to get, that they're, adjust to. Because they're used to going to whatever school they went to in the past, and they act up, this happens and that happens, and they get expelled and they go somewhere else. Well, here you act up, well, you're going to be back here tomorrow. It's
Right.
continuous.
And you got to look at me, who's not happy with you
Right.
tomorrow and the next day.
Exactly.
Right.
So, with discipline, we are, in a sense, limited on certain things just due to our licensing and
Sure.
our requirements with DCFS.
Right.
Now, we base a lot of what we do with the kids in privileges. We
Okay.
give incentives to, increase good behavior. So we do outings. We have a program we call it the Trustee Program. Now, we've tried to change the name multiple times just to kind of get that, trustee type name, but the boys just stick with it and they just want to keep calling it that, so we just let it go.
Okay.
But what that program is for young men that show advancement in schooling. That's meaning attending school, doing well, not just attending at school, but like participating in their classes.
Gotcha.
Also going to counseling. That's another requirement here. For a boy to be in our program, they have to go to counseling, school, and also working.
Okay.
Whether that's working inside or outside. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have to always be out cutting grass, but they have to be being productive.
Sure.
So
That includes keeping their room clean,
Okay.
making their own bed.
Yeah, so we can't be the parent who says you can keep your room disgusting, but the rest of the house has to be nice, right? So, yeah, I think I was that.
and something else I want to
My
touch
kids'
on.
rooms were gross.
Oh man.
It was bad.
We have some competition sometimes.
Very good.
Oh,
I want to jump in right here.
Yeah.
Uh, Continuing this thought about positive incentives, that is the way that we motivate the boys to try to excel. And if they slip and fall, make mistakes, and disobey the rules, they have an opportunity to recover from that and to get through that. And we give them an opportunity with positive incentives and positive rewards. So rather than beat them over the head, we put the carrot in front of the donkey, so to speak, and give them a chance to move forward and recover from their mistakes. And they don't get kicked out. They recover from that by correcting their errors.
Okay. What are some of those incentives?
so one recent thing, this is what John did. So one incentive was one of our boys that's been doing extremely well with school. He's been really the top kid here for a good while. He actually went on a fishing trip. I think that was last weekend. And he ended up actually able to stay tonight. So that's certain things like that. Like, every boy is different. So some guys, fishing is not their thing. So with some boys, they may want to go, they have a little skateboard, they want to go skating in Hammond somewhere, or they want to go, some boys every boy here loves academy. Oh my goodness, academy is like gold. So if you got an academy trip where they can go get some fishing equipment or some shoes or just something to fidget with, that's so it's kind of unique to each boy, pretty much, on incentives.
And I think in July, right after I got here, I think about 7 or 8 boys went to the World War II Museum in New Orleans.
Go on.
So right around July 4th, so they got to experience all that, and that was a trustee trip. So it's if you had good behavior, 2 supervisors and I jumped in the van and we went down to New Orleans. So it was fun. It was fun.
And that means eating out at a special restaurant and all kinds of treats and privileges.
Very good. And then they come back here and obviously share that experience, which helps with other behaviors, I'm sure. So what are some of the things that that you guys get out of working with these individuals? Because you've been here for just a minute. So this is your life's work at this point. Tell me about what it's done for you.
In 1979, when this was founded by a couple named Yowie, you're from this area, you might have known of the Yowies.
I have some people I went to school with the last name Yowie, for sure.
We were contemporaries with them and came to support them and help them. We didn't live here or work here, but we came here often. Now, this thing called Ranch Day that we're talking about was founded immediately and has continued every year since 1979. So we have these every year, typically toward the end of October each year. So there will be another one next year, and the next year, and so forth. But when I came here in those years, I had 3 sons of my own. And we came to Ranch Day, of course, and helped eat the barbecue and celebrate with.
That was nice.
With
That was nice
all
of
the
you.
others. And I used to tell my little boys, "You better be good, or I'm going to leave you here." Now,
There you go.
one of those boys is now the president of this place, and that's Jonathan. His wife is Dana, the registered nurse, and together they carry the load of running the program. My wife and I live here. I've been here since 2010, when we first came to live and to work here. And we had 3 sons of our own. We lost one in 2020 due to COVID, and we were so sorry to lose him. And he loved to come here and volunteer, but he left us with 4 grandchildren and his wife. What a wonderful family they still are today. And we've always had a passion for these boys. We've always loved these boys that love the work, and it's so rewarding to see the boys that come through here and their lives are completely changed and turned around. If they want to make a change, they can make a change. So there are all types of opportunities for boys, And there will be more, especially with the new VOTEC program that we'll tell you about, where boys can learn to use their hands and learn to develop a skill in plumbing, electrical, carpentry, small engine repair, and many, many other of those skills. And that is a whole nother subject to talk about. So we've just dedicated our life to helping young people, and especially these young men who need a mama and a daddy. And every teenage boy need a mother and a father.
Amen.
Now, they don't always have that, but they still need it.
Yes, sir. Brandon, tell me about that vocational program that you guys have. Are they leaving here with credentials?
So that is our goal for that. That's our goal, to where whenever they graduate from our school, they also leave with some form of credential. So that's kind of going back a little bit with Ranch Day. A big part of that is we're raising funds to help fund the building of our VOTEC building. And what it is we have
Oh my gosh, I guess I just got chills. That's amazing. That is amazing. So, I mean, because you hear that, the skill level really and truly is an educator for me. When you let people out into the world and they don't have anything at the end of it, recidivism is a thing, right? So you guys are doing what you can to prevent that. Wow, kudos, thank you from everybody on the planet for doing, that's amazing. That's amazing.
And
Thank
most
you.
of these boys will probably not go to college, but they still they're very intelligent, many of them are, and they have the ability to learn how to use their hands.
Indeed.
And do the crafts and do mechanical type things, even though they may not be college material. They're not stupid. They can learn things if they're taught and if they're given an opportunity to learn.
What are some of those vocations, Brandon?
So
Thank you.
We're attempting, or not attempting, we have a partnership with North Shore Technical Community College. And
That's my people.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love them.
Yeah, so I'm on the board.
Southeastern works with them as well.
Oh yeah, they do everything. Dr. Wainwright's everywhere.
Absolutely. He's amazing.
So we have, I'm a board member for North Shore Technical College, and basically what we're trying to do is, with our VOTEC building, to offer credits for our young men. So while they're in our school, actually have North Shore instructors come to our facility. Like, it's actually right over here, like, and I'll show you that later. But, and actually have them out here and actually teach these boys like different things like tool safety. There's various forklift certifications. There's various different things
Right.
involving like electrical, plumbing, all these different things, and go ahead and get them a head start once they finish with us.
That is amazing. I'm thrilled that you guys are doing that. That just touched my heart so much, because when they leave, they've got something to hang on to, you know, so you don't just get to age out and leave,
And they can
right?
carry that skill the rest of their lives. Wherever they live, they can usually find a job. in that skill.
Absolutely.
And if they really want to stay, a few of them can. We have a few extra, homes that, if they want to stay until they're 19 or 21 even, because they don't have anywhere else to go, they can, have a job and go to school while they're here. We actually have two boys right now, former boys, who one is going to North Shore Tech, and then the other one is, I think, working as an apprentice to an electrician. So, they have a place to be, and they don't have to feel like they're getting pushed out the door. So,
Absolutely. Brandon, tell me about, let's talk to parents real quick, okay? You've got a boy at home, right, who's facing some challenges. When do you know that it's time to go ahead and bring in some extra help for this? Speaking from that social work world, and maybe it's not the ranch here, but actually seeking other help from other people, because this is above your pay grade at this point.
I would say, honestly, before the problems even come. I think you want to have that. You want to have that additional services for these kids. I mean, I think every child should attend some form of counseling, whether they've experienced trauma or not. Because trauma is subjective. Something that's traumatic to me may not be traumatic to you, or
Right.
Brother Smith. And that's the same thing with these kids. They could have an event. I mean, just being born premature, that's a traumatic event for a child. And so that would be like the one thing I would just recommend is for just these kids to experience some form of counseling like as soon as possible. And with the counseling, it doesn't have to be so professional. It could be pure counseling, even like support groups or
Okay.
just being involved, being in extracurricular activities, just forming that community, forming that support system for this young man or girl. Just having that support system as they get older and they can go back to.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Ranch Day, let's talk about it one more time because that's really what we're here for, right? To make sure that people come out to this event. We hoping to raise money at this event?
We are.
So bring your checkbooks, folks.
Yes.
It's
We'll
free
take-
event,
we'll
but we take
a
money.
free will offering, but everything is free.
Yes, free event, but bring money.
And we are
Right.
accepting sponsorships as well for Ranch Day that help assist with this. When you come to Ranch Day, you'll see kids, young men everywhere in ranch shirts, and our boys actually work with Ranch Day, so they're actually working the booths, and they all have jobs, and they actually really get excited about it because they're actually showing the skills and just showing the stuff that they've learned here.
Very good, wonderful. Connor, what's the sale on this? Give me the pitch.
So if you want the nitty gritty on every detail, you can go to lighthouseranch.com on the Ranch Day tab. It'll tell you the events individually. There's a video that'll break it down under 45 seconds. If you don't have 5 minutes to scroll, we have a newsletter, a monthly newsletter that'll be updating people on new sponsors we get or any kind of events we may add or just the events in general. But yeah, if you come out, get a snowball out in the sun, it'll be October, but we know, we're from Louisiana, we know it'll be hot.
Yeah. Intended to.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's a beautiful campus, so it's just a good day to be out with family.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much. So that's going to be October 22nd. So get all the details at lighthouseranch.com. Fantastic. And thank you for listening here. I've been with Danny Smith as well as Brandon Baham and Connor Farrell, all here from the Lighthouse Ranch in Laranger. If you want to know a little bit more, visit that website. Also, thank you for joining us here on WFPR 1400 AM, 107.3 The Boss. I'm Amber Narro. Y'all have a great day.